So we'll just aim that at you.
Yeah, you should have brought the next camera.
Well, Tentec should do introductions.
At the very least, every time I know Aaron isn't showing up.
Tentec is studiously very suggestion.
His stuff is nicer.
I like
If
it.
you say loud enough to the microphone, then he will hear.
He knows. I've told him that.
What have you told him?
I get the cheap.
Introduction time.
I get the cheap version of his text.
Do you want to kick off the demo time, Tentec? I think you should kick off the demo time, Martin.
I should give it the demo time.
You kick off the demo time and I'll do a demo.
Yes, do it.
Oh, even better.
And because then you can,
Because then you can prompt me with questions that you want also for the originals.
okay,
Yeah.
Microphone.
plus you can mention the diagram we talked about.
The one on the wiki?
The graphics, yeah, do we have that out there? It's pulling up?
It'll be
Show the
there
context.
soonish. Soonish, there it is.
Here you go. Have a graphic.
All right, demo time then. We're kicking off with a very impromptu demo because we had some questions yesterday about using all the different IndieWeb pieces as one social network, and Tentec showed this graph at the end of the day yesterday, which has all the different parts and shows this mysterious phone everywhere while no one has been showing a phone. So we thought we would do that. There's Rose's phone using the indigenous app on iOS, which is connecting to her own website to get all the other websites that she wants to follow. So she's basically hosting her own reader there on the website, and she can connect her phone to it. And everything that's new should come into these different categories. And now, sadly, I think they're all empty.
I read everything, unfortunately. I apologize. But this would mean,
Can you post to your own thing?
no, I am not following myself.
What's
Do you have IndiePaper?
Microsoft.
Not set up.
Okay, so this is a different reader that will connect to the same server, and hopefully this one will show like the past things because the app currently has everything already read. IndieWeb for WordPress, for people who are wondering about that. This is the reader asking for all the different rights at once on the blog.
Okay, I have unread stuff going through this. Why is this?
Okay, so maybe the phone's just not loading the stuff.
I had several problems earlier today, so I think it's still confused.
Can you even open anything?
It's loading. There's a lot of.
The Wi-Fi is slow. Okay, there you go. So here's one reader that shows all the posts she's following, and she can immediately reply, favorite, whatever to it, and those will immediately go on her own blog when she hits there and posts something.
Can you give the 5-second explanation of Microsoft?
The 5 seconds.
Yes. As in, not
Okay.
too technical, just
Yeah. Microsoft is a standard that's very much still living and being changed, that basically specifies how any reader, whether it's a phone app or this web app, can talk to a different server, and that server can tell you about, here are new posts. So that way we can decouple completely what server doesn't matter and what app you're using doesn't matter anymore. You don't need in the app to pick, I want to read Google Reader, or I want to, well, Google Reader doesn't exist, but I don't want InnoReader, Feedbin, whatever, just your URL and it can talk to it. And we have the indigenous app on iOS, on Android, there's Monocle here as a viewer, there's Together, there are several readers, and there are multiple server implementations. So that's your 5 seconds probably.
Thank you.
And so that's what she's doing here, and she can immediately from the reader then post, because the reader also asked during login for posting permission. So whenever she posts something, did you post something? Can you favorite something random? That should pop up on your website now, right?
Yes.
So she just hits the favorite button or the like button or whatever your client has, and then it immediately is on her blog.
Cool.
And the app would work the same. I think that because the app list is empty now, can you show how the icons look? Otherwise, there are screenshots of the app available on the wiki.
Yes.
So those pieces, that's how those pieces come together that we talked about yesterday and just didn't really show yesterday. Oh, there we go. So this would be if Indigenous had loaded any of the items. And then whenever you go to an item, you can just do your liking, replying, anything right from there. So if you imagine everyone has this app, then you never actually have to go to your own website. You don't have to go to the other person's website, and it works just like a Twitter or a Facebook app on your phone. And there are people already using this right now. So, and as you saw, Rose just uses WordPress with the plugins. Those are the same plugins that anyone in this room can go and install right now. You can get the free phone app. You can start basically today. But sadly, we didn't think of showing this yesterday, otherwise we might have been able to help some people set this up today.
I should note that most of the reader setups and
Join the
everything
chat.
support regular RSS feeds as well as JSON feed and ASM feed. So this means that if you want to follow a blog like lifehacker.com that doesn't necessarily support micropub and microformats and things like that, you still can do that. So you can have a social network without the other person needing to do anything, assuming that they have a feed somewhere you can follow. And you can take something like Twitter feed and put it through a service called Granary, which means that you can then interact with somebody's Twitter feed without having to go onto Twitter yourself. You can hook it up so that it syndicates your like to Twitter, so that when you like something, it goes and likes their post on Twitter, which is pretty cool. Right. Are we doing regular demos now?
I think we'll go into regular demos, and then you get to pick that up.
All right, well, as I'm already here. I had numerous things I wanted to do today. First of all, on my blog, for people who don't know, I'm Rosemary Orchard. Hi, this is my website. So on my blog, I had a lot of posts, my micro posts, which are things like check-ins, Instagram posts, and things like that. And I realized if you were on the microblog page, there was no way to get to those posts, which was rather silly. So if you were going from somewhere like micro.blog or Twitter, then you could go to the post, but from my own blog, you couldn't go to the post. And an hour and a half later, digging into WordPress, I finally managed to do this little icon link. So I now have permalinks, which means that if you click on this, then you go to that specific post, which is very exciting. And the Wi-Fi has gone very slow so far. The other thing I wanted to do was, because I've been doing a lot of check-ins, especially this weekend, I've been going places and doing things, and other people have been checking into locations. If I check it in somewhere, before this map was not here, which meant that you might just see something that says Mozilla Berlin, which is not very indicative of what's actually happening. So I did some modifications here with some help. Thank you very much, Victor, where I managed to add the map view, which means that you can now see that it is an actual location. Aside from that, I also added a calendar icon to the date because I was messing around with that area anyway, and it seemed like fun. And there was one other thing that I did, which I forgot. You keep scrolling. Thanks to Chris Adams, I've installed another plugin, which is the Green Web Foundation. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can actually see that, so that I can see what kind of energy my website is hosted on. This is disfigured now. Here it is. Unfortunately, my web host does not tell us what energy they use. They say they use mostly green energy, which is lovely, but there's no statistics, so I sent them an email to ask for more information. Yes, that is what I've done, aside from an invisible option, which is backing up my Compass data, so everywhere I go is logged by my phone to my server. And a month and a half ago, I accidentally deleted all of that data. So today, I set up a backup, and there's a cron job running every 15 minutes that backs all that up for me. Okay, Martin, you're next. You've been voluntold.
All right. I don't know if I like the new word, voluntold.
It's been around for a very long
It's
time.
not new, it's just new to
Well,
us.
it's also new to me.
Well, somebody needs to go next, and you were sitting at the front, and Tantek's not ready.
When do we say pencils down?
When you're on stage demoing,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's additional.
which
alright.
means if you're still working on something, look busy.
Yes. And so, I'm Martijn, it says there, with a lot of information on the page. I didn't really end up doing very much new here. I added an Easter egg. I'll refresh the page 3 times and see if it shows up, and otherwise you're out of luck and you'll have to figure it out yourself. Oh, it's already there. So now my age changed, because I want to be forever 18. And in base 19, I'm definitely still 18. So there you go. I did that. I updated my weight statistics, which don't look too good here in the last. I've been doing a lot of traveling, okay? So a lot of exotic foods. So I did that too. And otherwise, I've been thinking a lot about the other information I have. I got some questions about what sort of stuff are you putting online or are you planning to put online? And someone asked me, do you put your subscription for your glasses online? And the answer is yes, I do. If you want to buy me glasses, my subscription. Another thing I put online, which I thought was very funny, is my credit report.
Which is not broken.
No, which is right there. Sadly, of course, I was out of Sweden and I was working in the Netherlands, so they don't really have any data on me. And apparently no data, so all zeros for 3 years, leads to an average, a medium credit rating. So if you've ever wondered, there's that. I think that's the information that we discussed yesterday after the event. And then today, because I want to redesign the website, I've mostly been struggling with what do I do with my gender page? Because I also have a gender page, of course I have a gender page, which lists all sorts of things according to a specific model that I found, gender BEP model, and all my pronouns there in the different languages that I speak. But how do I put this on the front page of my profile without it looking very weird or freaking people out, or I don't know. So I've mostly been toying with that question. If anyone has answers for me, please let me know. That'll be it for me. Don't have much to show there. Who wants to demo next?
Okay.
Good question.
Yay! Volunteers.
Volunteers are always good.
Otherwise, we have to start volunteering. Oh dear. Abortion committee to enter commit message.
I feel like we should have asked for volunteers before I was voluntold.
You were ready to demo.
Well, how about this? Since you are doing the tolding, why don't you pre-select the next person?
Who would like to go next?
I can show some stuff.
Wonderful.
You're on next.
Yeah.
I thought that was implied with the word wonderful.
Start a queue.
Whoa.
Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday, I do not have a website yet. So I spent the whole morning and even after lunch thinking about a domain for myself, and I didn't come up with anything. So I said, fuck it, let's just code the website and we'll see later about the domain. This is a very early version with micro formats. And then I thought, oh shit, now I need to code an interface to post blog post. And I thought, oh, but there is micropod. There's 1,000 clients out there to post blog posts. So I wrote a very work in progress implementation of IndieWeb, and I'm testing it with
OmniBear.
OmniBear, thank you. So if you open OmniBear, which is a micropod client as a web extension for Firefox and Chrome, and I put my website URL, it brings me to this form, which is IndieWeb form. And if I enter the correct username and password and approve, then it goes into OmniBear, and then nothing happens because my website is not online. So I will have to do some more work there. And then hopefully I can use any of the micropod clients to post stuff on my website. That's it.
Good start.
Thank you.
Who would like to go after Chris? Do I need to start volunteering again? David, you look
I
like
think
you're
I might
ready
need
to
a bit of help
go.
breaking this into. Oh, Hannah, here we are. That was being able to help myself. That's cool. Self-sufficiency for the win. Let's see. Alright, just.
Hold on.
Okay. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Okay, some things. There's too many things open. I have really.
Command
really
Alt H.
Command Alt H. Okay, so you folks are seeing some of this stuff here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Rose was nice enough to show us this WordPress plugin to basically see if a website is green or is not green. And we've been talking about a way to have a kind of more transparent way of doing this. So I basically created a pull request from the nice gentleman, Jack Lennox, who made the initial thing, which to basically come up with some kind of scheme for this, to basically kind of track your upstream providers, with the idea being that if you run a website, you probably heard of the hosting company. That hosting company probably has a data center that runs it, and then they get there with energy and so on. And like you can look at this in more detail. Then I started trying to implement some tooling to actually look into this stuff. So I'm not sure if you can see much of this, but we can see this here. Okay, so I built an app which will basically run Lighthouse. It's called Greenhouse. So who here has heard of Lighthouse at all? Anyone? Okay, Lighthouse is a tool that Google publishes to basically look at your websites and tell you how to make them better. And what we have now is I've made a fork of this, which looks at renewable power. So you go to a website, let's look at IndieWeb.org. It will basically, if this is going to work, oh my God, this is really dangerous to do. But it basically looks at the website, runs all these checks and analytics on it, and does a load of cool stuff to check how it's optimized for SEO, for this, for that. And I've actually updated it to also check where the power is coming from, because you can actually extend Lighthouse and analytics to have your own kind of custom things on here. So what is generated by that is basically some information that looks a bit like this. So this is IndieWeb, and we can see that we've got that one, but you're also fetching data from Tag Manager and Google Analytics. So we can check which of these are green. So that's kind of cool. But there's another thing we're doing. I've also got a thing called Dream Trace, which is basically a little bit like Tracefruit, which is a network tool, which lets you kind of track the hops as you go across, as you kind of connect to some kind of server. And we can run. I'll spare you like running it basically, and just show the output. But the output looks a bit like this. So we're in Germany. We can see hopping from place to place to place. So we can see that the IndieWeb server is actually run like this. So we can see where it's actually being kind of checked. And the idea being that I'm hoping to kind of build these tools into some kind of diagnostics thing. So you can actually see how your things are being built, understand the infrastructure that you're actually relying on, and then make some more informed decisions about how you actually run this stuff and speak to others about this. So yeah, there is all the projects I have are kind of online at the moment or on GitHub. And I'm more than happy to speak to any of you if you would like to do something about the fact that most of the internet runs on coal right now, and that kind of, that can't really run. All right, that's me. Thank you.
Does that bring it to me, or did you have a substitute?
Well,
Ian is
was
already on the
next,
way.
Yep, and then who's after Ian?
I don't know, Yvonne. I'll continue to cede my spot until you run out of other people.
Would somebody please volunteer to go?
These things never work because they're. I
Thank
think
you.
Apple do something to the adapters, so I might use mine.
Might be thinking about it for a minute.
I think that the Mac adapters for USB-C are tied to Macs. Because if I get my one out, it will work. Excuse me? Whoa.
Please hold demos.
What I must say. Yes. Okay. So I'll use a MacBook. And it should work, hopefully. Look at that. Somebody's up here. Ah. Look at that. See? Max. They say. Right, okay, so kind of massive resolution. I won't change the resolution down. I'm probably as it is, so you can see clearly. Okay, so I kind of came quite late, and I was kind of looking around what I could do, and I kind of been really interested in IndieWeb for a while, and I was really kind of impressed with the IndieWeb, so I thought I'd try it, and I tried it, so I kind of did the, where's it gone? Sign in, so try that. And it goes, hey, look, you've got something. So I click here, and I get this, so authenticate, and I get this. So that's what I've done so far. But I did add something quite nice. So I actually was interested in the green power, and I added that to my site. If I refresh, and my hosting provider is actually a green, which is good.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I did today in 2 hours.
Oh, can I take a photo of that, please? That'd be so cool that people are actually caring about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because people tend not to talk about it all that much. Thank you.
Okay, cool. That's what I've done. Thank you very much.
Cool.
I'll put the Mac one back for you Mac fans.
Who's going out
And if you figure out how to fix the other problem, please tell me.
Okay.
Looking for
I will.
volunteer
I will work it out.
slash lamp
I need to put in more time.
consultant.
It seems to be the server.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
there's
well,
something I
I
can do on
refreshed my cache completely on the server.
But it's some sort of configuration problem.
That's WordPress needs to do something.
It isn't a missing header?
No, because it's a 502.
So yeah, calmline.com. I didn't really do anything particularly innovative this time. I just rewrote some of my CMS to include an extra field for out attributes. So that now should work and also syndicates out to Twitter and brings in the out tag through Bridgie. So keep show. And I also got around to implementing part of the map for my events page. So I'm going to have at some point a full map which should span right across as far as Germany. And I haven't done any talks in America, but that's as far as well in terms of implementing a map for that. So that will have both upcoming and previous events I've been to, and eventually some information about slides, coverage of events. And finally, something which I've been working on for a long time, I've relaunched IndieWeb Guides, which now has a revised interface which is more geared to anybody from different sort of backgrounds if they want to come in from a different angle. So you can also sort of search for specific terms. So so that's all that's on Alenti. So that's still in development. So hello, I'm Tony again. So this was my website. Doing some very small changes. For example, risk. Look at this.
Yes!
Just another foundation. This is actually Berlin history, and doing this and doing this quite fine. Second thing I was. Sorry. Second thing I wanted to build is using this website to authenticate. Building basically IndieAuth from scratch because it's Python. I didn't find Python implementation. So kind of started one, and to show you if this works, just paste my URL here. Redirect. That's this single password authentication. If everything works, I should be signed into the computer now. So this is it. Yeah.
So that apparently still works. Yeah, there's not much Python code, probably not very secure, but I try to share this. So that's all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who's volunteering next? Or do I have to pick names? Casper, you look like you might
Yeah.
be ready to volunteer.
Yeah.
You don't have to go next.
Okay. So. Okay. Well, there we go. Okay, so I wanted to work on my site, and what I did is I basically installed all the things in my WordPress blog, and then I wanted to include the author H card, and I did that in the footer right there, all there. And actually, I wanted to do a whole lot of other things, but then I got stuck on it because the IndieWeb plugin has a template for that H card. And I'm coming a little bit from the theme space in WordPress, and when I hear template, I think, okay, file that I can drop into my theme and it will load from there instead from the plugin. But that wasn't the way the template was set up. So I talked to David, and he said, yeah, just do it PR, and we can do that probably. So I scrambled together my rusty PHP and spent the whole morning on that PR. And now it's actually merged and not deployed yet on WordPress.org, but it's merged. So now you can copy the hcard PHP template files from the IndieWeb plugin, drop it into your own theme or child theme, and it will be loaded from there. And there you can make customizations to the actual markup, which was required for my case here. I didn't want all of what was in there to go in there. I had some extra classes that I wanted in there. So HTML is usually supposed to be dealt with in the theme. So that's what I did this morning. And then the the only thing that I actually got to fix today was that on the IndieWeb website, when I RSVP'd first, my name wasn't shown. My photo wasn't shown actually, but it is now, right there. And that's also thanks to David. Thanks for helping me out, man. Really.
You know where to find me if you need more help.
It turned out that the photo wasn't shown in the beginning because of a lazy load functionality that I have running on my blog. So, which actually swaps out the initial image, the original image with a GIF or SVG or something, and so that was hindering the functionality. So I just put a attribute on the HTML markup for that image that excludes it from lazy load, and boom, here we are with my picture on the RCP. That's pretty much it. Thanks. Oh, and I dropped a little WordPress plugin in the WordPress channel in Slack that I made just to add some custom, what do you call it, profiles down here. I added my WordPress profile down there. So, okay, thanks. Cool.
I like people volunteering.
I guess we're running out of slots anyways.
This is true. So if you don't want to go last, you need to start thinking about volunteering.
Eventually, Tante will have to.
There's still fast typing going
There's
on.
still time.
Not fast anymore.
But there's typing.
So, you don't see anything?
Not yet.
I'm Sebastian, this is my site. It's currently running and has been running on WordPress for many, many years, and I'm in the process of moving over to a CMS called Kirby, which I fell in love with as I did 2 projects recently. It's just so much more enjoyable to work with than WordPress, at least in my opinion. So the big challenge I have is that I'm going to miss all the functionalities that the IndieWeb plugins bring to my current site. So I've started to look into how to replicate these things. Thing is that Kirby 3, which is the new version that came out earlier this year, does not yet have any IndieWeb plugins. There is a web mention plugin that Bastian Allgeier, the creator of Kirby, created during an IndieWebCamp maybe 2 or 3 years ago, which kind of works, which I think a lot of people use also. And then Sebastian from the Netherlands, he has made a little adaptation of that, and I've been looking into all these issues and things that you can find there. Long story short, I'm trying to build my own web mention workflow in Kirby. And what I've done is I've basically decided to split this into 2 plugins. I want to have one plugin that takes care of the web mention sending, kind of send web mentions, fall back to pingbacks, and then optionally also ping archive.org. And the other plugin will be a plugin that deals with comments and incoming web mentions. The reason for this is because I'm building this for myself, and it's going to be highly opinionated, especially the part with the incoming web mentions. But I would still like this to be useful for others who might, for example, just want to use the plugin for outgoing web mentions and then do their own thing for the incoming. This is the Kirby demo site that can be used for demos without a license. We have this test post here. Now, if I go in here and I link this article to one of these tests on the test suite, for example, save, and then we see here. Yes. So then now when I'm posting links on my Kirby blog, they will be sent out as web mentions to the receiving site. Just a moment, I had a little cheat sheet here. This is a bit more complex than my normal demos on the IndieWebCamp. Yes, I wanted to show that then also on the panel, on the back end here, it shows me a list of sites that have been pinged with a web mention. Then the next thing that I mentioned is the commenting. Kirby does not by default have any commenting functionality, so you have to do this yourself. And I decided to build my own, as we like to do on the IndieWeb, and as lightweight as possible. I try to implement this. There's a lot of different approaches. I'm going to write a blog post about that later. But basically the idea is that you can now leave a comment, then it will say thank you. It's in the moderation queue. And then what basically happens is that I have a page which later will be integrated into this panel, which shows me all the unapproved comments, and then I can click approve here, that it approves the comment, and then I can, nope, sorry, wrong page. We don't need it anymore. And then the comment shows up. Easy as that. Where it became tricky then is to deal with the incoming web mentions, which in my logic is the same thing as somebody leaving a comment on my page. So we use the same flow. I've made a little hack here to simulate this. And what happens here, what's the big difference to the existing plugin is that in the old Kirby plugin, all this would happen synchronously, and I want to have it asynchronously. So the incoming request now creates a small text file in a folder, which then I can have a cron job or something. There's also some queue plugins for Kirby. This is what's happening now. So it's looking at all the incoming web mentions and processes that queue, and that's the moment when it actually does the heavy lifting. And then we go back again to my page, which will, which will later be in my panel. And now I have here in this list of incoming comments, I have an incoming web mention, can approve that. And then if everything went as I wanted, yes. Yay. So I have comments, web mentions incoming, web mentions outgoing. It also pings archive.org. And
nice.
I can edit the comments down here also in the panel.
So you're pretty much finished.
Yes, I have to say this is not what I did today. I've been working on this for many weeks, and my goal was to finally get it. That was my work today, was to finally get into a state where it actually works. And this was just an hour ago that for the first time this whole flow actually worked. So I'm very
It's
happy
impressive.
with this. And thanks to Sebastian, who was on IRC, kind of supporting.
Okay, who's next?
I thought you were pre-approving.
My last one's left to do.
No, I haven't done anything.
There are quite a few people who haven't demoed yet. So
Oh,
Jan
okay.
hasn't demoed, David hasn't demoed.
I'm
What?
posing myself as a secret weapon.
Victor, Shana, you said you didn't want to demo. Victor? No.
No?
You-
It's okay.
If you have
If you
something you
even have a
are
personal
willing to
site,
show,
yeah.
you are welcome to.
Especially if you just came today.
What?
I said, especially if you just came today and didn't demo yesterday. It's like, do you have a personal site to show? That's okay. Okay.
Are you ready?
Nothing to show.
Nothing to show? Not even like a line of code you want to talk about?
Not really, I just,
Didn't you switch places between LinkedIn
Oh,
and
that's
Sing?
Yeah, I implemented HCAD. That's not really.
That's still something.
I did. Show us.
yeah, I did just the.
Come on, you did
thing on
something.
the side of my blog, that was pretty fair.
Yeah.
I need to connect.
PHP syntax, right? When you just a variable output is equal.
By the way, if you
Only.
only 200 more of those I need to read.
Well, this is basically it. You can parse it now, and there's an HCAD hidden behind the site, and I implemented a small Easter egg. If you hover over my name, suddenly it disappears or goes into space or whatever. Well, this is it.
Volunteers?
I'll
David?
go already.
Thank you.
I was hoping to hold myself in reserve until you got desperate. It looks like you're getting desperate.
I am getting desperate. I think the only person left after you is going to be Tantek.
Yeah.
And he's still typing. There's a question
woke
about
up for a
PHP a
moment
moment
there.
ago. So
Woke up for a moment.
that's
Or
what
you actually
Aaron
were
said.
paying attention to what was going on for a second. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's mirroring, good. So I actually have two things to demo. I was working on trying to make the experience for people using IndieWeb on WordPress better. So I have two different things to implement, although I have to switch between them because they're two separate pull requests and nobody's approved them yet. So this is the interface for adding and managing IndieWeb tokens in WordPress, but it didn't actually allow you to, when you created a token, to set the scope of that token. And since I want to improve scope, it's sort of necessary to be able to create tokens of any arbitrary set of configurations. So now I can create a token. There's my token. Don't worry, it's going to be revoked, so feel free to write it down. Got it in a second.
Also, this is a development website.
Yes, you might be able to deface my development website. So there's the token here. And I also added bulk actions to the page to allow you to revoke as many tokens as you want and to revoke tokens that were accessed a year ago, a month ago, a week ago, a day ago, an hour ago, and just clean up all expired tokens and authorization codes. So if your database is dirty because you've been playing with things, so get rid of the old ones. So the other problem that kept coming up was the fact that people were having trouble with authorization headers. So this is the page as it exists in the stable version of the plugin. It has a little tiny script here created by somebody in the room that looks completely different than the rest of the site because I just sort of included it in. So I wanted to sort of make it look, oh, excuse me. So this is the new version. It has a nice little green up there. Authorization header found. You should be able to use all clients. See, happy. But in order to show you what it would look like if you were unhappy, I have to convince the code that it doesnn't work. So, just a second. Just comment out this one line here. This is what happens if it's sad. It's going to have a nice red box there. Also, if you have never run this plugin before, it's going to prompt you on every page until you run this check at least once. So it will keep annoying you so that you will not open up an issue on the GitHub page of this plugin or any plugin that uses IndieAuth saying, why does this not work? Because it's going to tell you very directly why it doesn't work.
Which would not stop people from opening an
No.
issue.
But it will stop people from opening it for that reason. I'm sure they'll have 10 other reasons why they will open issues, but not for this one. Big red box. There's my solution. There we are.
Cool.
I'm afraid you're the last person left, Patrick.
All right.
That's why the red
Follow
box
the
tells you how to get rid of it.
instructions.
I wasn't saying it should. It actually
should
should.
stop. I know. I'm talking about most of the people I've gotten so far just didn't know what was going on. Now they know what's
Yeah,
going
random thought. Does the IndieWeb work if you use the WordPress plugin versus the GitHub one?
Still pretty tech savvy. You're probably safe, but it just takes
Because there's two ways of doing IndieWeb on WordPress. Either you can use your WordPress site as an authorization endpoint,
Yeah.
on. You need an
or you can
authorization
use
header
a
to lock
GitHub
in using all options.
Oh, I think I tried.
Can't do anything.
I'll try it now. I think it's to be a try.
just an idea.
Yeah.
Worth double checking.
Somebody said WordPress.
Aaron approves of you.
Is that what happens when someone says WordPress?
Anywhere in the world, somebody says.
No, in the IndieWeb chat room specifically, when somebody says the word
And then
WordPress, my
someone
phone
goes
makes a dinging noise.
I need to know.
How do you think I keep showing up? Did someone say WordPress?
All right, this is my site. It's back to its plain styling because I conditionalized the terminal styling. And see if this works. So I have these two little icons here because I couldn't think of anything else to do at the time. I click the one that looks like an old style TV terminal. Should theoretically, here we go, apply the skin. So the cool thing is that's all done via a class name that just adds the skin to the body, and then that gets connected to, here I'll highlight the styling, CSS variables, for the body background color and font, link color, visited color, and then in the, oh, I have to remove that comment, but in the relevant places, then I have CSS that sets the background color and font according to those variables, not conditionalized for that class. So then theoretically, all I have to do is add more skin classes with the different variable settings, and I can just keep adding more skins that way. That just gets switched because the places that reference those are just referencing the variable names already. So it reduces that. The part that I did not get done is that when you click a permalink, it's unfortunately lost. So, but I believe this still works. Yes. And I'm looking into why my code that outputs the permalinks doesn't add the skin there automatically. But that's the goal, is that this whole thing works, switching skins works without any cookies and without any JavaScript.
just by using a query parameter, which then the backend recognizes, oh, I should pass that query parameter onto any local links like permalinks. So when you set the skin, then it keeps it until you reset it. And so that's what this button is for. Clears it out. Just go home. Okay.
Is there anybody that hasn't demoed who would like to demo? Or say something?
Are there any remote demos also?
That's a good point.
Oh yeah, I haven't doing what those.
Yeah, the chat suddenly says WordPress, WordPress, WordPress.
He proved the point. There usually is not that much WordPress talk except in the WordPress room, which I'm not doing that in.
See, this is why you don't tell people what your highlight strings are in your IRC client.
Yeah, but it's only specific rooms.
Is Jan connected?
Wanna be bothered if somebody's talking about WordPress.
Yeah. Any remote
By the
demos?
time
I don't
get
think there are
yeah.
any remote demos.
I don't think so.
Sap here.
I used to have Gutenberg.
I've just
but that's
spammed the same
frustrating.
question to some other channels just in case. Chris, that would be mean. You should make it a random number and then have a random sleep involved. That would be better. Alright.
I was like, what joke did Chris make? What joke did Chris make? I was just waiting for the Slack message to make it to IRC. People are commenting here about something Chris said and it's not there.
Okay.
It's
Berry
say
does not
say
have
WordPress 10,000 times. Oh, excuse me, too many more zeros.
10 million.
No,
10
10 billion actually.
Is did Jan have anything to show? Or is he offline?
You're currently online. You're green.
Mm-hmm.
See, just for that, I won't be able to adequately support the WordPress community in the IndieWeb chat.
Okay.
All right. I think we can guess there are no remote demos.
Yeah.
There are no more remote, no remote demos, huh?
No one replies.
Didn't Peter Molnar
Was he
code
working on something?
Yeah, he got syndication links working on his site. Didn't he say that?
Would somebody like to demo on his
Those
behalf?
Flickr links? He mentioned that. And he didn't have that before he added it. Like he got inspired.
His last post is still all about Gopher, which I guess we can also demo, but
Does he have a photo post somewhere? Where does he post his photos?
right there.
So look at that. Somewhere there should be a Flickr link. Maybe on the permalink?
Oh, this took me to all the photos.
Why is it?
Syndicated to Flickr.
So that's new, I'm pretty sure. So you can demo that.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can volunteer.
Should I can show it.
Yeah.
I have a whole lot to see.
And he did it for anything that's syndicated from Bridgie. So he gets back the syndicated URL, and then he saves it, and then he shows it, which is pretty cool.
Does he? Is there a script for this demo? Here you go.
It starts with, "Hi, I'm not Peter Molnar."
Yeah, exactly. It says, "Hi, I'm Peter," but I'm definitely not Peter.
Peter is remote.
Because I could never replace him. Simple as that. And he wrote that he was working on getting his photos. I think they were either already on Flickr or he wanted to get them into Flickr. And so he has worked on doing that automatically and now displaying a syndicated to Flickr link on top of his photo posts. Posts a lot of great photos, so check that out. I wonder, we don't want to go over time. Was there anything else we wanted to show?
I think that was it.
Otherwise, I think it's time for you to to wrap things up, Tentec.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap up for today.
On Pete's website, did you see the light and dark scheme?
We can also show that Peter has a dark light switch.
On my phone, it asks for this. Look. It's
Yeah.
asking for.
He asks whether you're okay with storing what it is. And I don't remember now if. Oh, sorry. I don't remember if, because we did a lot of back and forth on trying to get his website to automatically pick dark or light depending on your OS settings. So my Mac OS is set to dark mode, which is why Safari is all black. And that should mean that I get his website in black. Yeah.
It works for my phone.
So when I went with Firefox's website, I got the light version by default. But when I go with Safari, which supports the new CSS theme for dark and light, I actually immediately get the dark theme on his website.
I want it to be dark where I am, not where my visitors are.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
This is just matching the OS. And I wonder if this still works. This worked when we were testing it the first time, so I give no guarantees. This is not my code. But when I changed it here, anyone know where it is? Dark mode?
General, I believe.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, like.
So if I switch this, the website switches along because the website knows that the CSS selector changed between dark and light mode in my OS.
Oh, the media query.
Yes, it's a media query for the dark and light.
Yeah.
So in Safari, I don't know if this shipped in any stable browsers yet. This is a preview for Safari.
It shipped in Safari regular in the last version of macOS.
Okay. So this is we thought this was a very cool effect, especially when we were testing it when it was only available in the preview builds. And just changing it here means that it changes the entire website.
That's pretty cool. Yep. Clearly, I should add that too.
Yeah.
You could use that as a
I'm
theme
currently
switcher as
enhancing
well.
my project list.
So yeah, that's a Peter demo, although he's not here. What's bouncing? Anyone want to say something? No.
IndieWebCamp fell asleep watching the demos.
Yeah,
dear.
that's what that says.
IndieWebCamp.
IndieWebCamp is sleeping.
Is anybody not familiar with the story of IndieWebCat?
Yeah.
Okay, can you pull up the IndieWebCat site?
It's just IndieWebCat, is it .com?
Yeah.
I think so.
Should be.
IndieWebCat has its own website.
There's the IndieWebCat.
Oh. IndieWebCat uses a lot of IndieWeb technologies.
I like naps, boxes, and sparkly balls.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty funny.
IndieWebCat also used to post her weight on a regular basis, but that is stopped for some unknown reason. It's very suspicious.
There you go.
IndieWebCat's human.
That's your cat.
No,
No.
it's Aaron's cat.
Oh, I thought because of the weight thing.
I stole the entire weight ID from Aaron.
IndieWebCat is, I think, the only other deployment of P3K, which is Aaron's CMS. So he has it running on more than one domain, which is a pretty big accomplishment.
The cat also, just like Aaron, tracks what she eats. Yes, this looks like an automatic one at the same time every day. But
It
still,
may be connected to an automated cat feeder. Just quite big.
Oh, that would be cool.
you'll have to ask Aaron about that. I don't know if
I
Aaron.
think IndieWebCat uses Onyogram too, right?
And IndieWebCat has her own reader, so she can interact with posts.
Really? Reader?
Could be worse. Could be soy then.
This definitely has a Twitter and an Instagram version of this photo.
So
post.
IndieWebCat has a Twitter.
So here's IndieWebCat on Twitter with the same post.
No, that's Instagram.
That's Instagram.
Instagram, sorry. And here's IndieWebCat on watching Rose and me.
Oh my goodness.
So there's that.
Could be looking at the box.
Television is a box.
Yes, everyone's welcome on the IndieWeb. Humans and cats alike.
Hamsters too, if you have them.
Right. That was it. I see nothing more in chat, so Tentec, if you want to.
All right. So Let's see. Last.
Microsoft. There's one. There's one for WordPress. Two options. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll type it.
The crash report.
A crash report. Oh yeah, look at that. That's very small. Okay. So, thanks everyone for coming and demoing and building awesome stuff. I think we saw a lot of inspirational things today, demos, and getting things working, no matter how small. It's always a good thing. The next IndieWebCamp is next week, Düsseldorf.
Well,
So
Don't
who's
forget
going?
the week after that, you have another one too.
Adjacent events, yes. So we are doing. Well, is anyone? First of all, I should ask. Starting tomorrow is Republica 19 in Berlin. Is anyone else going there?
Talking now.
You're speaking.
Yeah.
Excellent, Ian. Okay, well, break a leg, as they say. Next weekend is IndieWebCamp Düsseldorf. Who's going to IndieWebCamp Düsseldorf?
And one hand for Jan, who had to leave early.
Okay, so
What's
three of
the
us.
hand raising signal for remoting in?
Remote hand?
ET antenna?
I'll try that.
Okay. And then there's Beyond Teller End. Who's going to that? Anybody? All right, I'll be speaking on day 2. And then there's the Accessibility Day Conference, which is on the 15th. That's just a heads up for what's coming up. And then the weekend after that, there's Utrecht. Who's going to IndieWebCamp Utrecht? Martine, Rose, and David will be.
And a bunch of other
So a bunch of other people. Awesome.
Yeah, Jeremy Cherfus.
And then as a reminder, the IndieWeb Summit is coming up in June. Who's going to that?
Wednesday.
Can we do a sort of?
So, yes, you can.
We're planning to do an adjacent event for people who don't like remoting in on Portland time, which is a crazy time difference from Europe. So instead, we're inviting people to come visit me in the rural village of Åmål in the middle of Sweden, to where we have a venue with a big projector where we can remote in and run our own little IndieWebCamp event during the day.
And there will be farm animals, you said.
And we're planning a trip to the local moose ranch if you have ever wanted to pet a moose.
I'm looking forward to the pictures.
There will be pictures.
Can you put that on the 2019 page?
It's on the 2019/planning currently, but we'll be moving it away from there ASAP.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And then we have housekeeping, which is, if we could, we should be out of here in about 5 minutes or so. But it looks like people kept things pretty neat, which is awesome. Our key thing is we have to pick up all the trash and bottles and things like that and put them in the proper places. So we can do that in the next few minutes. I think that shouldn't be a problem. And with that, I would like to thank Mozilla for hosting us for 2 days, 3 days technically, with the organizers meetup. So thanks, Mozilla. I'm grateful to be here for that. And we have one more sponsor. I'm trying to find now. And thank you to Helpful Digital, as a bronze sponsor, helped us out with some funding for some of the food that we had this weekend. So thank you. Thank you to Yulia, who couldn't be here today. She didn't feel very well, for organizing all the local stuff. She works at Mozilla Berlin. So thanks to Yulia for that, and thanks to Martine for setting up the TITO ticketing system and sending the email telling you it's all happening. Thanks to David for setting up all the remote participation and live streaming, including the one we're doing right now. And thanks, last but not least, to Rose for volunteering and helping corral you all to the photos and various other things.
Are we supposed to thank you too?
Well, you can.
Yeah, well, I'm mentioning it because you were too humble to mention it. So.
And I think that's it. So look, we already have awesome photos up.
Yes, there will be more photos going up later.
Nice.
Any final thoughts before we discontinue the live stream?
We're gonna clean up, and then I encourage any of you to, if you had a good experience, please blog about it. And hope to see you all on the channel online.
And if anybody is interested in post IndieWebCamp eating, I'm sure somebody's going to want to eat something.
Yeah, chat about it on the channel, bring it up.
Yeah, David and I will be around for a little while, and then we have to head to the airport. But
Okay.
And if you're Berlin-based, we have a whole new website club, which we just started again, meeting once a month. Just look it up, it's on the website. Next meeting is Wednesday, the week after next week. The idea will be to have a little review of the 2 IndieWeb camps and catch up on the latest.
I see, there's already 2 people signed up.
You aren't signed up, Sebastian.
Well, I'm not the accessibility club in Düsseldorf that day, but I'll be there in spirit.
Awesome.
This now concludes our broadcast day.